A long time ago, I was in the movie theater, and as the trailers were playing, there was one trailer that looked really different than the rest. And it was for a movie called Open Water. And the reason it looked different was because it was shot on video. And at the time, I was just learning about filmmaking and doing a lot of practicing with cameras and stuff. So to see something like that was shot on video that seemed accessible was just groundbreaking to me. Later, when the movie came out on DVD, I watched the making of just over and over again, and I found out that it was this couple that made it, and they shot it on these Sony cameras with mini DV tape and DV cam, like the early, filmmaking tools. Of course, it was something they did out of necessity. It was a budgetary thing, but I think the camera choice was actually one of the best decisions they made, because the story is about two scuba divers who get stranded in the middle of the ocean when their tour leaves them behind. Because we often associate video with reality, this further deepened the story and the immersiveness of the story for the audience. And that's why I really believe that camera choice does matter. Very often in the YouTube sphere, in filmmaking blogs and discussions, you'll often hear story is king. You could shoot your story with anything, an iPhone, an Android, a sweet potato, whatever you want to shoot it on, you can do it. And while I absolutely agree this is true, I think the whole honest truth is more complex than that. And why I say that is that the camera can be a character in the film. It's like with Open Water, how it made it seem more real by shooting it on video. It created this psychological effect in the audience's minds that probably wouldn't have the same effect had it been shot on 35mm. And there are numerous examples of filmmakers throughout the decades of using the camera then more than just a means to capture an image, but to be part of the story itself. Obviously, the found footage genre, Paranormal Activity, stuff like that is a good example of the camera being an active participant in the storytelling. Stuff like The Celebration, the Dogma 95 movies, where it created this immediacy that things are really happening, that other cumbersome cameras, so like film cameras, probably couldn't have that same effect. I think of Jonathan Glazer's Under the Skin, which the cameras played an important part in that, how they used hidden cameras to have real people interact with the Scarlett Johansson alien character, and you wouldn't have that without thinking deeply about the camera choice. Going back to what the general advice that you could just shoot on your phone, that's totally valid. You could totally do that. But if you're just going to be shooting in Rec 709 to just throw that up there, you're just not going to have the edge. And we're just bombarded constantly with different types of media all the time. And if you don't have that upper edge, you're just doing yourself a disservice. Question why. Why am I shooting with my phone? How is this actually going to help tell the story better by choosing this phone over a GoPro, over a Blackmagic camera, over Sony, whatever it may be? Think about that. Now, to play the devil's advocate, there's a flip side of this where people worry too much about gear. And I totally have been a victim of this myself, of just going too far down the rabbit hole of technical things and just pixel peeping and just being worried about things that 99.9% of audiences will never see or care about. I think the reason is that these technical things, these cameras, they're quantifiable. You pay this much, you're going to get these specs. And when you think about something like creative, like a screenplay, you don't know. Like, is this character arc actually going to work? Are people actually going to be engaged in it? There's this ambiguity. Whereas the technical side of things, you can feel like your investment's going to pay off. There must be some aspect of that in this gear acquisition problem that people have sometimes, where they're not making their art because they're too obsessed with the newest thing. I love gear myself, and I do obsess sometimes a little too much over it. But at the same time, it's really fun. I enjoy it. I love how different cameras do give you different images and all that. And so that's something I really love. The truth is, you just have to have a balance and not being ignorant and oblivious to the tools and technologies that can help you tell your story better. I always go back to this quote by Robert Rodriguez, the famous filmmaker who made El Mariachi for $7,000. He has this quote, and I always think about it, and I always try to live by it. And he said something like, I'm paraphrasing, if you're technical but you're not creative, you're stoppable. Meaning that you have the technical knowledge, you have all that but you're not creative, you need someone to help you write the script or something like that, you could be stopped. If you're creative but you're not technical, you have all these great ideas, but you don't have the technical knowledge in order to achieve them, again, you're stoppable. But if you're both, if you're technical and you're creative, who is there left to stop you?